Appreciate you. All right, guys, welcome back to another Hoop Life interview. I'm here with my guy. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
My name's Vinny Gambolungi. Some people know me as Coach Vinny, so yeah.
Big Coach G. So I'm gonna ask you, so here is my first coach that I'm interviewing. So his journey might look a little different. His answers are gonna look a little different, but he is a player coach. He did play. And so like he has a lot of interesting perspectives and he's been helping me out a lot with my game because he's giving me like the coach side of it and just like the more technical of like the X's and O's, which I think is real cool. So tell us where you played at and where you coach at now.
Yeah, so I played at Elizabethtown College. Well, actually, I played at Central Dauphin High School first, and then I played 4 years at Elizabethtown College, and now I'm coaching at Central PA Elite AAU 15U and Central Dauphin JV as of now. So
top AAU program in the country.
Yeah, one of the best, one of the best in the state right now. But we're growing. We're trying to get better. We're bringing in good guys who can really play, and guys who are good people too. So that stuff matters.
Valid. So where are you from originally?
I'm from Harrisburg originally. I lived in the east area, but then I transferred over to Central Dauphin. So neighboring schools and whatnot. So it was a good transition for my sake. But yeah, I'm from Harrisburg area.
Valid. So when you did go to Elizabethtown, what did you major in?
I majored in psychology. I had a minor in coaching. The reason why I majored in psychology was because I've had interest in the human brain and how and why people think certain ways and make certain decisions. But the career wasn't really from a job perspective, it really wasn't of interest. So I've definitely been taking more of a navigation towards coaching and teaching.
Valid. So when did you start hooping? And then, every question now from here on out will probably be a two-parter for your coaching life and then your actual hooping life.
Okay,
so
that sounds good.
When did you start hooping and then when did you start coaching?
Okay, so I started hooping when I was like 5 years old. My dad was a coach since when I was really little. So every time he went somewhere, I went with him, especially if it was a practice or something. Just being around basketball my whole life, and then eventually making the decision of wanting to play myself. So I started to really acquire love for the game. Just like your first time being able to dribble in between your legs and making shots from a longer distance was something that really intrigued me, and then that's where it all took off. When my career was over, at the end of my college years, I picked up coaching right away, and it was for my AAU team, and then it really just took off from there.
Valid. I do remember when you first started coaching, and you was telling us that it was like me and Darian, one of another guy we interviewed. We were talking about how like you made a really good coach, and like we could see that growing on you.
Appreciate that.
Of course. So what is your why? Not only for hoops, but for coaching, because there's so many other things you could have been doing. Like Vinny's a real smart kid. Like he could have, instead of coaching, he could have been doing a lot of other stuff and been successful at it. And then hoop wise, I think like when I was younger and I was playing against him, I thought he was very I want to say coordinated. So like a lot of other sports lend to that, and I thought you could like be a multi-sport athlete. So why basketball?
I appreciate that. Well, my mom didn't let me play football.
Okay.
I felt like I would have been a really good football player just because when we used to play outside, I was really hard to tackle.
Yeah.
But, my mom and my dad, they didn't want me to play football. I was never really introduced to other sports.
Yeah.
So basketball was the route that I took. But, my why was probably for the sake of it, it just becoming my lifestyle. It was my lifestyle when I was really young, and my dad's coaching lifestyle, so it really stuck with me. But coaching, my why was definitely because of how my career went. I felt like in terms of my career, I fell short in certain areas, with playing time and my own expectations with playing, and I didn't want kids to have to deal with the same type of career that I've dealt with, just in terms of not being able to reach your full potential. So when I was a coach, I decided that whoever I was going to coach, I was going to give them full confidence to be the player and the person they want to be and not be affected by a lack of confidence, you know? So I really try to bring that light and continue to help kids be successful.
No, I love that. That's a great reason to coach, I think. And your whys make a lot of sense, for sure. So with that, again, these are all 2-part questions. Tell me initially, I guess this one will probably be 1 part because it flows in nicely. Tell me your entire hoop journey. So like from when you started playing basketball at 5 years old all the way to you now coaching and stuff like that.
Yeah, so you know, my hoop journey has not been traditional, you know, just because, well, actually, everyone's hoop journey is a little bit different.
Yeah.
Everyone's story and process is just a little bit different.
Yeah.
You know, some people don't have great careers, and that was kind of where I found the love for coaching, because I was like, I want to still be in the game, but playing might not be what God had in store for me.
For sure.
So when I was younger, I was really talented. You know, like I was in 3rd grade, I was able to shoot the 3 consistently just because I was always in the gym. But then I just started to really find that skill of just being able to shoot the ball really, really well. I was very coordinated, like you were saying. Like I just had a good feel for the game, and my confidence was at an all-time high.
Yeah.
And I know I'm saying this as when I was really young, but when
Yeah.
I was really young, like there was a lot of games where I would just make 6 to 7 threes. You know, it was very, I don't know, I had a lot of confidence.
Yeah,
you
just
know?
to take those shots.
Yeah, just to take the shots, but also, you know, it felt free. You know, it felt like you had no expectations. You was just having fun. You're just enjoying it.
For sure.
And then the one day, one of the coaches told me that I was shooting the ball too much. And like my mind, you know, when someone tells me something, especially from his status, I don't think he meant any harm.
Yeah.
But how I took it as a young kid was like, I need to stop shooting. Like I'm being too selfish. I need to stop shooting. So like from there on out, like then I started to look to pass more, but my shot, like I wasn't fully confident in it, you know, and then that's where the mental aspect of things started to come into play.
Yeah.
But then I quickly regained confidence, you know, just with my ability to continue being in the gym and working. And then high school kind of hit, you know, like when I transferred from East to Harrisburg Christian to Central Dauphin, you know, it was a lot of trying to figure things out. You know, I felt like at East I wasn't aggressive enough.
Yeah.
At Harrisburg Christian, it just wasn't a good spot for me. But Central Dauphin, I came in and I felt like I was a little behind because I didn't play too much AAU. You know, I feel like AAU is probably one of the most beneficial things a kid can do just because of the developmental sake of things. Like you're just playing at a higher level when you're younger. You know, if people play at a higher level when they're younger, they really tend to develop at a really high level. So that's pretty much where I felt like the development started to go down for me because I was pretty talented, but I didn't get more athletic or more IQ wise. I didn't learn more. So that's where that kind of came from. And then going into high school, my sophomore and junior year, I wasn't a top 10 guy. My junior, I played JV as a sophomore, and then my junior year, I almost got cut. So I walked in, and my coach told me that I was the last cut, and he pretty much told me what my role was going to be on the team. He offered me to play JV, or he was like, "Oh well, you can play varsity. You can cheer for your teammates." I said, "Well, I'm going to play varsity and cheer for my teammates," because I knew that I would hold myself to a varsity standard. So I ended up I didn't play a lot the first half of the season, but we didn't have a winning season. So I played a lot at the end of the season, and I actually started to do a lot of good things.
Find your groove.
Yeah, and then Coach Fletcher came in, my new coach, and he really taught me discipline and taught me how to at least work for what I wanted. And then that's where I got into college. When I got into college, I walked on to E-Town.
Gotcha.
So when I walked on to E-Town, it was there were a lot of learning curves. Because coach had me bringing up the ball, and I wasn't used to bringing up the ball at that level. And he had another kid hound me over and over and over again. There was times where I just turned the ball over the entire practice. But going into, at the end of the season, I felt really comfortable just bringing up the ball and being comfortable of handling things and having my own pace and whatnot. So that really benefited me. But I expected to have a huge season the next season, but then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And that was canceled. And then junior year, I expected to play a lot, and I got a little bit of opportunity when guys got COVID, and actually did really well. But when they came back, then my playing time went back down.
Yeah.
And then my senior year, that's when I really expected to play, just because I did my time, felt like I was ready. And seniors are desperate to win. Those are the guys that I feel like every program should trust. And I didn't play a lot necessarily. Just being a walk-on and recruits coming in, they played over me. And at that point in my career, I told my coach, I'm like, Coach, like, we're not winning right now. I need, like, I feel like I need to be in there. I need to be that leader for my team, because I was a leader off the floor.
Yeah.
But at that point in time, I just wasn't, I did well in some practices, but I probably wasn't mentally prepared. And I never really got the opportunity. So with about a month left in my career, or the month left of the season, I quit because I felt like I didn't quite deserve the recognition that came with me being a part of the program. I felt like I could have done more, and I was just pretty upset with how things went about. So I felt like it was best for me to step away from the program and look for new things. But once that door closed, God opened another door for me, and then that's where I really embraced being a head coach. It felt like that week where I quit, it was just, I was out of it mentally. It really hurt, but as soon as AAU came around, it's like, I turned into a whole new person. I gained a whole new confidence, and I did it for other people. Like basketball, a lot of people do things for themselves, or they do things for their own sake. But coaching, you do things for other people. So that's where all of my energy kind of refocused, and then we just took off from there.
No, that's valid. I want to ask you, so there's a couple questions about your journey I want to ask you about. Like, I know you said you walked on. How was that process for you? Because, like, what did you have to do to get into that position, to get at least that opportunity to even play on that team? Because a lot of kids that are out there watching now have the opportunity where they're like, oh, I don't know what to do. I'm not getting recruited. I don't know what to do. And they sit. I feel like a lot of kids just sit in that instead of being proactive and trying to figure themselves out. So, I want them to learn from you and what you did in that journey. Yeah,
so, that's a great question, because, college is becoming more and more competitive to get into when it comes to basketball. I was probably good enough to make a D3 team, and, we lost first round. So we were high for Central Dauphin as a senior. We were a really high seed. We were the 6th seed. We lost to the 11th seed in the first round. And I told myself, I said, this can't be how my career ends. There's got to be more. There's got to be more, you know? So I really took initiative to look up teams who needed players, Division 3, because I knew I wasn't going to be D2 or D1 because they offer, or they have their guys. But I really took initiative to email coaches, look at local D3s that I'd be interested in attending. And once I looked them up, I looked up their rosters, I looked up their record, I looked up how many seniors they had, how many roster spots they were filling. And once I realized that, then I kind of narrowed down into about 3 schools, Elizabethtown, Moravian, or I was gonna go to Kutztown for not basketball, but for just school. And when I realized that I wanted to play basketball, I narrowed it down to Elizabethtown and Moravian. I was actually in Messiah. It was Messiah too. Messiah too. So I was emailing their coaches. I was very adamant about trying to build a relationship with them. And E-Town, the coach, emailed me back, and he said, if E-Town's a place you want to be, then we support you on that. I sent my film and everything, and I felt like that was the best opportunity for me making the team. So once I enrolled, I really tried to build a connection. My dad was kind of familiar with the assistant coach, and he kind of talked to him about it too. So I even roomed with another kid who already made the team and had a roster spot. So I kind of inserted myself within the team early, and I was around them as early as possible and as much as possible. And also I was really respectful to the coaches and the adults. I was really outgoing. shook coach's hand every time, you know, like very adamant about getting my name out there, my presence being felt, workouts, making everything, showing my commitment at a really high level, keeping my grades high too.
Yeah.
So it was just, once I enrolled, I was like, I gotta put myself out there.
Yeah.
And then when tryouts came around, I played really well.
Yeah.
You know, like there was a 2-3 day tryout. There was about 20 kids that showed up, but the kids kind of weeded themselves out, but I stuck around.
Yeah.
I got the captain's validation. You know, he told me that the coach asked him if I was worth making the team. He said 100%, you know, just based off of how I was playing and how I was working, and pretty much went from there, you know?
Yeah, valid. And there's one thing I do want to harp on in that story, especially like how you said you were being respectful and like shaking everybody's hand and stuff like that. I think a lot of people nowadays feel entitled to certain things and don't take that time to actually like be respectful. I think that's another big part, like being able to, as you assert yourself and be like making your presence, do it in the way that is respectful and like understanding of everybody else's time. Because a no doesn't warrant you to have a bad or ill response to that coach, because then you don't know how your response may affect them and they help you out later on, or however that goes, right? Just never burn bridges unnecessarily.
Exactly. And you know, I had a kid make my AAU team this year because he did 3 things. He came and he greeted me, he introduced himself, and he played full court defense the entire time. He was very respectful by coming up to us full. First of all, he stuck out. He stood out because he was the only kid to come up to all the coaches and shake our hands. So that was one thing that stuck out. And then his attitude and his demeanor was very professional, you know, at a really young age, just the way he went about shaking our hands and just approaching the tryout. And then also when it was time to play, he was super locked in. He was guarding full court. So those were the 3 things that I noticed as a coach, that I was like, man, this kid needs to play for our team because he has the desire to want to make it.
Yeah,
you know,
and that's valid, and that's like the small stuff. Like that doesn't take any type of talent, it's just
at all,
effort.
right?
And then so with that being said, that was your hoop journey, and then coaching. What has been your coaching journey? So starting from when you started that coaching AAU right after college, how far have you taken it now?
Yeah, so coaching's been crazy because, I mean, thank God I've had a lot of success so early in my career.
Oh my goodness. I think so too. Like from like you, the way you started, I think just looking at you now is like, I think you've been coaching for 2-3 years now?
Yeah, about 2.5 years.
And I think there's looking at every year, the development for me has been like astonishing.
Yeah, I appreciate that too, because I don't know, I've been putting a lot of work in, but you know, it's been worth it. You know, in 7th grade, I had 12 kids at tryouts for AAU just because I picked the job up at the last second. I took 10 kids. Actually, I took 9 kids. And at first there were some bumps in the road with trying to figure out how coaching worked and how to put guys in certain spots. The first offense I found, I put in, and it didn't really work. But once I started to realize that you can do whatever you want, and for the sake of your team's personnel, you can have success. Man-to-man, we weren't ready at that age. So we did a little bit of man, but we did more 1-3-1. And my guys really started to get out in transition, and we just started to win games out of that. Then I came in and coached 7th grade for school ball, and then that year we went undefeated. We went 17-0. And that was crazy because I didn't really have too many expectations about what we could do. But actually, I did have expectations. I told the kids that I feel like this team is special. We could go undefeated. And they kind of went about. But I didn't have expectations for myself as a coach. And then after the 17-0 year, you know, we started to really increase my AAU. Connecting and finding players who could really play. And then, you know, the next time the tryout, we had about 40 kids there, and I had a lot to choose from. And I picked up 9 really good players, and we had a really good AAU season. We played our first year on the Made Hoop circuit, and we did really well in that. And then I went back to school ball pretty much a few months ago, and we went 14-1 regular season, and then we ended up well, we ended up attending states for the first
Yeah.
time in our middle school program history, which was amazing. I mean, we
Yeah.
lost, but we won a game there.
Yeah.
So we took a big leap. And then this year, for high school, AAU, I was able to pick up some returners and then pick up a few extra pieces to make our team what it is now. And I think our record is 23-7.
That's not bad. That's really good.
Yeah, it's really on the May Hoop circuit too.
Yeah.
You know, and we're a team that's only growing and getting better. You know, and also for the AAU aspect, one of my players was ranked 3rd in the state for PA Prep Hoops, and another player got the opportunity to play EYBLs within that year. So there's a lot. It's definitely come a long way.
No, that's valid.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Like you guys, there's so many avenues for basketball that a lot of players don't understand. Like you don't know where basketball could take you. It could take you into training. Like my first interview, like it was a trainer. Now we have coaching. Like basketball has so many opportunities that you could take advantage of. You just got to be willing to do it.
Exactly.
So that's your journey. So what was the hardest part, either from coaching or as a player? What was the hardest part of that journey?
That's a great question. You know, I said the hardest part was and is, you know, because I'm still actively coaching, is meeting my own expectation. You know, I've always been the type of person who just want to be perfect, make people proud, make myself proud, create a legacy, you know, and meeting my own expectations have been, and it still is the hardest thing, because there's a couple things that, you know, I carry home, you know, and you know, it's a normal thing, you know, like when people don't play well, they'll carry it with them. Yeah. You know, when I don't coach well, I carry it with me. But I feel like my expectations have been the hardest because it's like you hold yourself to a high standard in hopes of, you know, just trying to accomplish as much as you can in this life. And especially at a young age, you know, I want to be the best, you know, and I know that these years are really crucial for me in terms of development and growth. So I know that my expectations will continue to be the hardest thing for me. But if I can balance them a little more and be more understanding about what success looks like on a wider perspective in terms of, you don't always got to win everything. Yeah. You know, you don't always got to have a championship or trophy. Your players don't always have to go D1 or get scholarships for you to know that you did everything you could. Yeah. So I think that's one thing that I'm learning more, but I'm still not where I need to be when it comes to coaching. I still know I can take it to a whole nother level. And I love that. Like that's real, because like everybody has when we interviewed Rance, he said his hardest part was his mental, and I think that's a big thing. Like just being able to understand that you need to lock in on certain things, and it's not like, as much as that's the hardest part, I think that's one of his biggest strengths, being able to be like, I have this high expectation of myself. I need to meet these expectations, because then it pushes him further and advances him further to those expectations, you know? Mm-hmm. So what, as a coach and as a player, right, I want to ask this. I don't know how this might come out, but like, what are your future plans or future goals as a coach with basketball? Yeah, so my future goals, well, I'm coaching high school this year, but I eventually want to be a high school head coach by next year. If I don't get that, you know, I'm still trying to figure out what's best for me. If I don't get that, then I want to kind of enter the college coaching, but I also don't want to give up my AAU team. So it's like I'm trying to figure out how I would be able to do that and still have my AAU team. So I was thinking probably coaching high school for the next 2 years until my AAU kids graduate. Yeah. And then from there, taking the step into the college realm. So tough. And then hopefully one day be a college head coach, because I feel like I'm a pretty solid recruiter and I'm a pretty good coach and I'm a pretty solid leader. You know, I think those are the three things that make a good college coach. So I think I'll be a Division I coach one day. You know, I just got to keep speaking it into existence and keep working, you know? Have you ever seen Swagger? No. Oh, you gotta watch Swagger. For those of you who have seen Swagger, I think the coach in Swagger, Benny, reminds me a lot of that coach. That's like, you have to watch Swagger, and I like it's not a bad thing. It's a really good thing. I think he was a great coach. I think like you being there for your kids is amazing. Mm-hmm. My last question for this interview is,
are there any questions that you wish I asked, or is there any nuggets of advice that you would like to give out?
Yeah, so probably some advice, from kids, for kids who are trying to take their game to the next level, is to just, Rand said the same thing, it's just as simple as being in the gym every single day. Your coach can want it for you, but your coach has to trust that you want it for yourself.
Valid.
That's something my dad always told me. Like, he never forced me to be good at the game. He told me that if you really want it, you'll find a way to make it happen. And I think every kid who wants it will find a way to make it happen. You want to play in college basketball, you will make it happen. But you can't just say it and then not mean it.
Yeah.
If you say I want to play college basketball, you got to have the knowledge to know what it takes to play college basketball. You can't just say, okay, I want to play college basketball, but not put in the work or the effort. You can't. People are not gonna. When you get older, people aren't gonna hold your hand. People aren't going to cater to you. You have to be a man. You have to, or a woman too. You have to have the confidence to assert yourself and want the job, want the pressure to be on you.
That makes a lot of sense. And now, that's to the players. What about to coaches that are like just starting out, or coaches, even seasoned coaches? What is your biggest advice to them?
It's okay to be a young coach. Some people don't think young coaches are suited enough. I wouldn't say suited, but not necessarily true. I feel like some people think young coaches aren't ready to embrace a high level coaching position. But I say, as a coach, you should start young.
Yeah.
Because you develop the knowledge to be able to put yourself in high level coaching games, and always take notes and knowledge and insights from other coaches as well. I think that's an important aspect of being a good coach. You got to be a sponge. You got to acquire new things, and you got to learn different aspects of the game, because it's a learning sport. It's not a sport where you're just good at it and then you can just keep winning and winning. You always can learn something new, and I feel like that's why it's so translatable to life. Even in coaching, you learn so much about yourself, but you also get to have an impact on the young generation, because honestly, a lot of kids need it. You could be the person that saves someone's life. So just knowing that your role as a coach can be, changing someone's life regardless of what your age is. Also, you can walk in knowing that you did everything you could as a coach, but sometimes falling short is a part of the learning experience. But you can walk into every gym knowing that as long as you come in with the right mindset and attitude, and you help prepare your kids as much as you could, you can live with that. You can live with any result, So knowing that at this age, finances are a big deal. So be careful with what coaching you want to do, because some coaching is financially sacrificial. So you have to make sure that you're putting yourself in a position to set yourself up for a very successful financial future, as well as a coaching future as well.
Well, I appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
Keep a lookout for his AAU team, and I am going to be updating you guys on his high school season this year. And you guys will be seeing a lot more of him, Rance, and everybody else, because these are my guys that I come home and work out with. We literally just got done with the workout today, and he was working this out. And I want to shout these guys out more than anybody, just because they helped me become the player that I am. So I really appreciate
you, bro. Definitely.
All right, see you guys on the flip side. Like, subscribe, pray, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.